Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. Tim Hart and Mike Big Buck Hoffner. On this week's show, I had a chance to talk to Tom and Randy from Woods and Water News during their outdoor weekend. I spent all Saturday there. I saw bows and guns and jerky contests. There was so much going on. It was just fun.
They're great guys. You did a little bit of traveling, Tim, but I'll tell you what, it's all part of the preseason activities leading right up to deer hunting.
Also on this week's show, we've got Brent Rudolph from the DNR. He's going to be talking about the deer advisory teams from around the state. And then I've got Bob Ducharme on the show, and he's going to be talking about how you start a co-op.
Well, I'll tell you what, co-ops, I think, has been a hot item. And if you can get all those landowners together, some good things can happen.
And remember, as we register deer, you can check them all out on Q1BuckPoll.com. Stay with us. We got more coming up. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.
Q1 Buck Poll, Michigan's biggest and best buck poll contest. Brought to you by these sponsors who support Michigan's great outdoors.
I actually had my bow rope tied up to my bow and I was getting ready to lower it, and when I was starting to put it down, I heard a noise in the swamp, and I looked up and I just saw a huge body. I looked at it again and I could just see how wide it was. And it took 2 steps and I saw his head tilt one way and the other way. And I thought, holy cow, is that thing huge? So I'm scrambling. I didn't have enough time. When I saw the deer, it was about 40 yards. I tried to untie my bow as quick as I could. I had to get an arrow out. I had to knock it and get it on the whisker biscuit and everything else. And by the time I got that all done, he was 20 yards. Well, he took one more step and he was 18 yards broadside. And so I heard him take off running through the swamp. I heard the arrow hitting off different branches and so forth, and he just totally stopped at about 40 yards. So I played the waiting game, but I never heard the deer fall. Then I heard it walk a little bit, and I thought, I got to get out of here. So we went back the next night. He actually found it. We kind of split off on a trail, and he starts yelling and screaming, you got it, it's over here. It's huge.
Well, recently I had a chance to spend time with Tom and Randy from Woods and Water News during their Woods and Water News outdoor weekend. And, you know, it's food, fun, family, and the outdoors. Mike, I don't think it gets any better than that.
I'll tell you what, people are enthusiastic. And the thing I like about it is it's an activity where you can bring the whole darn family, Tim, to the event, and that's what hunting should be all about.
Well, we're at the Woods and Water outdoor weekend. I got Tom Campbell, I've got Randy Jorgensen with us, we've got our grandson with us, and we got Bucky the Woods and Water deer. Hey, what's happening here this weekend, Tom? This is always a great event.
Well, you can tell by the weather we've got a great day to be here, and with all this going on, you can tell it's a family event too. But we're out here celebrating our outdoor heritage. We've got over 200 vendors here, all related to the outdoors. We got all kinds of seminars going on, demonstrations. It's a great place to be.
And you know, Randy, this has started many years ago and has really grown into the event it is today. And tell me about some of the featured booths that you have out here.
Oh, well, obviously we've got Xmart. They're one of our major sponsors, and we've got Steel. As you can tell,
it's a family. It is a family event.
Yeah,
is what it is.
and he wants to get in on it.
There you go.
Steel Chainsaw Company. You got to get down and see those folks when you're here. All very important to our show. All helping us do things that we wouldn't normally be able to do. Well, we rented Bucky because of it.
And I think one of the big attractions too is the dog jumping out there into the water.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
No Wilcox here with the Ultimate Air dogs, and they got the Ultimate Air Games finals going on. They'll be finishing up tomorrow, so it draws a big crowd. They got dogs jumping from all over the U.S. right here today. So
You want to
Randy,
get Bucky?
what are you finding out about overall with what's happening in the outdoors right now this year?
Well, you know, people are telling us they're seeing tremendous amounts of deer out there. So I think we're just going to have a great year. I think it's just going to be an outstanding year. And that's part of that. And part of it here at the show is kind of a celebration. Mm-hmm. You know, let's get ready for the season.
Let's get ready for the season, and obviously we're into the season now with the interview here today. And Tom, any big topics coming up that you foresee that are going to be part of your editorials? Because one of the things everybody that if you don't pick up Woods and Water News, you need to, because you're always right on the cutting edge of what's happening in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, and of course, you know, this year is going to be the baiting's been reinstated in the lower Michigan, except for the TV zone, which is still banned up there. So we'll probably see a little different hunting tactic going, and who knows, after last year, you saw some of those big bucks that were taken. I think this year might be just as good, if not better.
All right, well, what a great weekend we have here. It's the Woods and Water Outdoor Weekend. Tom, thanks for being with us. Randy.
Absolutely.
Hey, and like I say, it's a family event, so if you didn't get here, obviously, this year, we will see you next year. It's always the same weekend, too. So. Hey, one thing we don't want to forget is that you always have a gun auction, too, right?
Absolutely. Randy's Hunting Center's here. He's got guns on display all weekend, and on Sundays, the auction begins, and you could pick up a good deal on some good guns.
All right, you're watching the Q1 Buck Pull, and we are at the Woods and Water Weekend. Well, I also had a chance to talk to Ted Harpham from Dart and Archery about the latest in crossbows. We saw the Ultimate Air Dogs with Milt Wilcox, the former Detroit Tiger pitcher. So we just had a fabulous time. And, you know, Mike, I also had a chance to see Bucky the deer.
I'll tell you what, I heard he's got moves a little bit better than you, Tim.
All right, stay with us. When we come back, I'll be talking to Brent Rudolph from the DNR. You're watching the Q1 Buck Pull.
Hi, I'm Andy Chandler. We're here with the Big Buck Pull. I'm here with John and Shannon, and we're in Lavery, Michigan. We're at Northern Lights Family Outfitters. Shannon, tell me how you guys stay so popular.
Well, it's because of our service and our selection, to be honest with you. We offer the full entire line of Carhartt clothing, which includes men's, women's, and children. And the other thing we do is we go out and service a lot of businesses. So if you want your guys fitted, we go right to the job site and we fit them. Plus, we order every day of the working week. So if it's something we don't have in stock, we make sure our customers are taken care of. And we try to accommodate for all sizes. And the other thing is of course, we're always giving back to our customers. For instance, we do a ton of sales, which are really awesome events all throughout the year.
And you guys have a huge event called Redneck Days here?
Well, of course. We have a great big pig roast cook-off. We invite any teams who want to come up and want to compete. We invite all of our customers, for wherever they are, across the states, to come on out and eat a free meal here on us. Believe it or not.
We're doing at least 10 pigs this year.
And so it's become pretty popular. This will be our 4th annual. It's coming up the weekend before Memorial Day in May.
Now I can see why you guys are so popular.
Well, you shouldn't take it from us.
You should take it from our customers. Check this out.
The only place I buy my Carhartts is Northern Lights Family Outfitters.
Shannon has her pricing is more than fair. I've priced Carhartts in all the other towns around this area and nobody comes close.
Carhartt is the best clothing in the world. Carhartt rocks, Carhartt rules!
When they don't have what I need, my Carhartt lady finds it for me.
Carhartt rocks!
Northern Lights Family Outfitters is the only place I come for my Carhartts, and you should too.
Good Carhartt products, good service, and good people.
Come see my mom, she's the Carhartt lady.
Just make sure you always call before you come.
Because you never know where she's going to be.
You're watching the Big Buck Pull.
He slowly unzips the window and he's like, "Oh, there's a buck, there's a buck." And I mean, there's a bunch of woods in front of us, so I had no clue where it was. And he's grabbing the binoculars, and I'm trying to grab the gun, and it stands up. My it's turning its head and everything. And my dad's like, "You want me to shoot it? You want me to shoot it?" And I'm like, "No, I want to shoot it." And so I grabbed the gun and I free-handed shot. I dropped it right away, and it was probably a 100-yard shot to the bottom. It got up and crawled to the other side, and I shot it again, and my dad wasn't even looking at me really when I shot it. Yeah. And I'm like, Dad, I dropped his ass. I mean, it was like fast I've ever saw my dad run down the hill. Yeah. And so I'm like trying to get...
Well, son just dropped his ass. Hell, I would run too.
Yeah, my dad got up there, and he's all pumped, grabbing. Oh, it's a 10-point, it's a 10-point.
On the Q1 Buck Poll, we're always trying to inform and educate you, so we have a lot of different segments with the DNR. And this week I'm talking to Brent Rudolph about deer advisory teams. And you know, Mike, that's where people all around the state can have input to what's happening with our outdoors.
You know, Tim, we do a little bit of that in education. We'll bring in advisory committee members who bring a lot of expertise to the table. It's always nice to get input from the field.
We're now going to talk about deer advisory teams and how you can be a part of it. We got Brent Rudolph with us. He is the deer and elk program leader for the DNR. Brent, welcome to the program.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so people can have their say. You know, there's a lot of hunters out there, wow, they crab about this, or they have input, or they've got great ideas, and they don't know what to do with them. Now they can be a part of a deer advisory team.
Yeah, what we've done is a couple of years back, you probably recall, we did a statewide deer management plan. And it's a pretty broad, kind of strategic plan. There's not a lot of details about what we do, year in, year out for annual hunting regulations. It provides kind of higher level kind of guidance. One of the big things in that plan, though, that was recommended is forming an advisory team for each of our 3 regions. So we have the Upper Peninsula, the Northern Lower Peninsula, and the Southern Lower Peninsula. The Upper Peninsula team's been formed and met once. The other 2 are going to be formed in the coming weeks here. And it's going to be about 15, 16 people or so. Some of them represent an organization, so it might be a rod and gun club or other things like that from a local region or even a statewide organization. But there's others that we call at-large folks. They're just deer hunters that are interested in being involved. So the best place to get info on those teams is our website. And actually, if you go to www.michigan.gov/deer, you'll see a link there. It says Deer Advisory Teams. Okay. Now, when we have meetings with those teams, one of the key ideas here is that it's easy to have ideas.
Sure. A lot of ideas.
It's hard sometimes to make sure you've considered all the different angles and all the different perspectives on them. And so what we want to do is this is a forum for the public to be interacting with us, but more than just tossing an idea out and leaving it for us to mull over. We want them to work through those concepts with us. So the meetings, when we have them, we're going to be dedicated to really working with those folks. But if the public wants to come and hear those deliberations, and we may have a limited opportunity for them to kind of provide comments and other things as well, they can. So from that link, they'll be able to find, as those meetings are up and coming, and opportunities for folks to see, either attend or just see the minutes and things as an outcome of those processes.
Well, I think that the DNR really relies on the hunters out there that are out in the woods on a regular basis. I mean, there's, private land and public land. Absolutely. And if the deer hunters, kind of communicate with the DNR, it's really that working relationship that's going to really give us a better and healthier deer herd in the state of Michigan.
That's right. Even if you might not have a burning topic that you want to provide input on, or you might have an idea, but you see it's already being explored. Oh, good, that's being that's being addressed. Just being informed of what's going on is important. Going along with that, from that deer site, we also, through a partnership with Michigan State University, put together a new website that we're trying to use to have a little more flexible ways of getting information out to people. There's a highlight of it. You can get to a link to it from there, and there's a highlight of it in our Antlerless Hunting Digest as well that shows kind of what the site looks like and the idea there. So that's something else we'd really like people to check out and give us some feedback on how they see that as a good way to also get information out to the public.
All right, Brent, thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you.
Brent Rudolph, the Deer and Elk Program Leader here with the Michigan DNR. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Again, you can get more information on our website at q1buckpoll.com or on the DNR's website. And Mike, it's time for people to be advised to get your bucks and doe registered at any of our locations across the state. Greenstone Farm Credit Services, Auto Value, or Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts stores. We've got them all listed on our website.
We've made it real simple, Tim. Just get those things out, get them registered. You've got some great prizes to win this year.
You could win an ATV just for registering. Stay with us when we come back. I'll be talking to Bob Ducharme about co-ops with QDMA. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.
I shot him in my pajamas and house slippers. I was sitting at the kitchen table doing paperwork that I had to have done that day, and all of a sudden my dogs just started going crazy. I walk out the back door, nobody there. I heard a crunch and I turned around and he's standing right at the corner of my house, standing there staring at me. He took off like a bullet down through the backyard. I go to the house, go to grab my gun, and it's like, I don't have a gun. All my hunting stuff's out at hunting camp. It was like an hour later, hoping he's still laying back there. Well, he went around to the cornfield, and me and a buddy of mine went down the road and went into where I saw him lay down. He laid down until we walked right up on him. And me and my buddy both shot. We don't know who killed him, really. I imagine we both did.
You shot at the same time?
Yeah. I got the rack.
What was he wearing?
I don't know. Probably his camouflage.
All right.
But that was it. He dropped right there.
How do you grow the big bucks? Well, you practice quality deer management. My next interview is going to be with Bob Ducharme from QDMA.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, getting together with those landowners, it sounds like a simple task, but everybody has a different philosophy on it. But if it's done properly, done well, you can get some big deer.
We're now going to talk about QDM Cooperatives, Quality Deer Management. We've got Bob Ducharme with us. He's a Regional Director for Quality Deer Management Association. Bob, what is a QDM cooperative?
You know, here in Michigan, Tim, most guys don't own 600 acres. Most guys don't own 300 acres, but a lot of us own small properties. Right here at my house, I have 25 acres. So to control a deer herd or to manage a deer herd, you need about a square mile of land. So if I get some of my neighbors that have small properties also to come in with me and we make some rules and regulations, very loose knit stuff that say that we're going to pass up young bucks. For one thing, we're going to harvest adequate does. We're going to plant so many food plots. We're going to do so much work. We all band together, then we can start controlling a larger section of where we live and where we hunt. So cooperatives have a lot of benefits for everybody. Basically, for the small landowner, like myself, it gives me the opportunity to hunt a quality deer herd, as well as to maybe cut some costs on my planting food plots and stuff, because we're going in as neighbors and friends to purchase seed or to use equipment or whatever the case may be. So in the long run, it's going to benefit our deer herd and it's going to benefit our hunting as well as the habitat in our area.
So it's really working together with your neighbors. And you know, back in the old days, a lot of people knew everybody that lived by them, and it's not so much the case now. A lot of people try to stay to themselves and that sort of thing. But I think that when you're talking about that kind of cooperative, managing the deer herd, because in your tract of land, okay, so you're letting the 1.5-year-olds go, and they go to the next tract of land and they're gone. Well, that doesn't do a whole lot of good, does it?
No, not really. And part of the problem here, Tim, is that a lot of guys think that that's exactly what their neighbor's doing. They think that as soon as that deer crosses the fence, if I didn't shoot it, then my neighbor's going to shoot it. So unless you actually go over and talk to your neighbor and learn to know that guy and trust him, you can't really tell what he's going to do.
All right, so let's talk about how I can get more information because, all right, so I've got a tract of land now. I want to go talk to my neighbors, but I don't know much about the cooperatives and how they work and what I should ask and talk about. Are there some guidelines? Is there information? Can I talk to other cooperatives around the state?
You can actually go to MichiganQDMA.com. And right on that website, we have about 50 different cooperatives around the state of Michigan listed. In fact, Michigan is like the leader right now in developing QDM cooperatives. We've got some cooperatives, folks, in like Clinton County area that are over 10,000 acres right now. So that doesn't mean that they have every property in that particular section or whatever, but it means that you've got a lot of people banding together. So what's doing is they're increasing the age of their buck herd, they're reducing their doe population, they're increasing the amount of food that's available there through doing food plots and forestry work and stuff like that, and they're helping educate each other. So you can go to that MichiganQDMA.com website to find that out. Additionally, Tim, and I don't mean to cut you off here, but additionally, the 4 major deer shows coming up starting this fall and through next spring have invited the Michigan State Chapter to be involved and actually give large presentations on QDM cooperatives there. You're going to see people like Tony Smith, Chad Thalen, and these guys doing great presentations up there and teaching folks how to start a cooperative in their area.
And one of the things, I know we're talking about deer and this is the Q1 buck poll, but you know, it really benefits all the wildlife in the area, especially when you're adding those food sources. And if we have a really hard winter, which we've had some very cold winters lately, it just does nothing but help the wildlife habitat out there.
Oh, I agree 100%. You know, like in our area, well, we're down in southern Michigan, we plant a lot of food for the deer during the year. The farmers do, you know, and what we actually do is we artificially build our deer herds on those agricultural crops, Tim. And then what do? next month in October, we take all that stuff away, and now all of a sudden the deer are left just to our woodlots. So
in other words, what you're saying is we plant all the corn, the beans, and the deer come in and eat it and that sort of thing. And then in October we take it all away. And that is, you know, again, we're managing the deer herd, but then we come back down to when you take away that food source, you know, you got to balance that herd a little bit too.
It's like me taking your hamburger away, Tim. You're going to starve, okay? So the key is having food plots, doing forestry work. We're going to get our deer through the winter time, through the tough times of the year, in good, healthy shape. And so the next year, they're even going to be bigger and healthier because they made it through the winter good.
Quality Deer Management Association, what a valuable resource that we have, not just in the state of Michigan, but all over the country. Bob, thanks for being with us here today.
Hey, thank you, Tim.
All right, he's the Regional Director for QDMA. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. So that's how you start a co-op. Now, one of the things that we want to make sure that you do is take your buck or doe into any of the registration locations across the state. They're listed online at q1buckpoll.com. We have a lot of fabulous prizes. Everybody that enters has a chance to win an ATV. We've got crossbows. We've got muzzle loading packages. We've got it all.
You know, we've had some tremendous sponsors, Tim, and it keeps growing each and every year. And it's all about deer hunting. It's all about you, so get them registered.
All right, again, you can go to q1buckpoll.com and check out all the registration locations. For Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Make sure that whenever you're out in the woods, be safe.
For the latest on Michigan hunting, pick up the current edition of Woods and Water News, Michigan's premier outdoor publication, available on newsstands or by subscription. Woods and Water News, proud sponsor of the Q1 Buck Poll.
All right, Tim, that's ready. I'm a doofus. Let's roll it.
I didn't know where you were going with that one.
Why you just said what you just talked about? You just talked about
I thought it was good.
How it's a group of people that get landowners
that get
together.
I thought you wanted to end it.
Well, I know, but I thought maybe you were going to say something.
Someone's calling me.
That's a buck call. Bah, bah. Hoffner, pick up your phone. All right, Tim, let's get going.
Hang on.
So I'm going to give you a mark.
We doing the whole thing over again?
No way, it's easier. Yes, sir.
I was not in the zone.
Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. Tim Hart and Mike Big Buck Hoffner. Well, I had a great outdoor I
heard you traveled over 700 miles. It's all part of getting ready for the preseason and right on.
Welcome to the welcome to the Big Buck Outdoor Weekend. Fabulous Saturday when we were there.
You know, Tim, 700 miles of journeying you did this past weekend. And I'll tell you what, we're getting ready for... What was that? Oh, you looked at me funny like there was something wrong.
We'll mark this as number 5 for you, okay? Okay, we got it marked as 5 and a clap. That way you can just go right to that, don't put all that other crap in there. Well,
you got plenty of them.
Hey, from Big Buck Hoffner. You ready, Big?
I'm ready. I'm smudging my glass, too.
It's going to hurt him talking.